Broadcasting from Canada, heard worldwide.
Len Amsterdam radio show.
Many people fear public performance. Imagining yourself doing a bad performance or public speech beforehand will likely make it all come true. It's all classic stage fright, really. If you have a public engagement, stop worrying about what can go wrong, remembering you will have the best looks, talent, and brains in the house. Besides, a misstep or two has actually known to have enhanced many a career for a public personality rather than damage it. Most concerns over public performance come from our own expectations, not the expectations of those in the cheap seats. Relax and take a deep breath. Len Amsterdam, broadcasting from Canada.
Was her first time at the bar. I'd gone to see a country band. She fell in love with his singing and the way he moved his hand. He kept pointing at her as he sang his best love songs. They left together the night. She sensed it was all wrong. She wanted to be the last. He wanted to be the first. She didn't care about his past. He only cared about his thirst. The die had been cast. He was well known as dirt. She wanted to be the last. Chances are she would get hurt. Was for him nothing new. He had seen it many times. But this time it would be different. He was out of dark red wine. Being sober, he couldn't resist. Fell in love, she was the first. He threw away his empty bottles, but he couldn't stop his thirst. She wanted to be the last. He wanted to be the first. She didn't care about his past. He only cared about his thirst. The die had been cast. He was well known as dirt. She wanted to be the last. Chances are she would get hurt. She wanted to be the last. He wanted to be the first.
Ladies and gentlemen, and twists too, I'd like to thank you all for coming to the 5th installment of the Len Amsterdam Hall of Fame inductees. Rick, Mr. Bone, listen to me. If you don't quit picking at Mr. Rainville, Rick, quit picking at Mr. Rainville's. Rick, don't eat that. You don't know where that's been. Knock it out. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. We're here tonight to induct Miss Vonnie Rose, my favorite cousin, to the Len Amsterdam Hall of Fame. Shelley, David, if you guys don't stop that, you guys can't act like that. We're in public. Knock it up. You guys can't stop. Go get a room. Anyway, Vonnie comes from Texas, where in Texas they sang real purty, y'all. And not only can she sing purty, she is real purty. I tend to think it kind of runs in the family myself. Ken, get down off that chandelier. Ken, get down off there, bud, because if I have to come over there and smack you, listen, I'm not above spanking the monkey, you know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, and twist. Our latest inductee into the Len Amsterdam Hall of Fame, Miss Vonnie Rose. Give it up for Vonnie.
Ici Peter Olash. Vous écoutez le Len Amsterdam Show, de la musique d'artistes indépendants diffusée en tout temps, et ce à partir du Grand Nord canadien. Hey!
Greetings from the Great Wide North. You've reached Len Amsterdam.
Howdy, Len. This is Scott Rose from Ogden, Utah, snowy Ogden, Utah, calling to do an exclusive interview for the Len Amsterdam radio show.
Hey, Hoser. Scott, the way I've been starting things off here is that we'll be asking you for a big American country yeehaw.
Well, okay, Len. I'll give it my best shot. Hee-haw, 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 hee-haw!
Good one, Scott, but you freaked out my dog.
Well, Len, it's that fresh country air, man.
We'll start this exclusive off with my stock cowboy question. Do you use chewing tobacco while riding the range on your horse?
Well, actually, I have to ride my horse these days because I can't afford to put fuel in my pickup truck. As far as the chewing tobacco, yeah, I'll have a pinch or two every now and then again.
Now, I heard you've been brushing up on your Canadian. Can you lay a little on us?
Yeah, well, sure thing, Len. Beauty, eh? Well, anyway, I'd like to thank you for having me on your show, man. It's a real honor. It's a treat for me.
So, Mr. Rose, can you tell a little bit about your musical history?
I guess I started about 30 years ago when I first started playing guitar. My first, nightclub, you could call it, gig was at age about 15, and I don't know, I was so naive. I remember walking in there, and it was like, I thought I was at a practice, and when Ernie, he announced that it was break time, I thought, wow, yeah, we're really actually playing? and that was back in the good old days when you could really suck and still get paid for it. I don't know, then I got serious and went to Nashville when I was 19, 18, right around there. I can't really remember for sure. Stayed there for about a good minute, 30 seconds. Man, I was so blown away by even the Motel 6 acts down there were good. Came back home to good old Utah. Just got back with the guys I was with. We played, Wyoming and Idaho and even sometimes Nevada circuits. Did that for about 15 years. And then that kind of all dried up, and ended up just getting serious about writing. I've been mostly doing that ever since. And I even get the opportunity to submit to some publishers from time to time, and I guess there's always hope, Now,
it's always a common thread when I ask this question about instrument collections, because I find stuff comes and goes. What's the deal with you? What's in your instrument collection?
Instrument collection? Well, that's a little bit of a sore subject with me, actually. I used to have some really nice stuff, but that kind of walked away in a robbery a few years back. So for now, I guess what I've got is just some generic guitars, acoustic, bass, electric. I don't know, I've got an older instant keyboard I play on, prehistoric Simmons drum set, and I guess an 8-track recorder. That's about it for right now. The only thing they didn't get was my vintage Mesa Boogie amp. Had that thing, forever. But they didn't take that because if you ever lifted one, you'd know why.
What are your thoughts on the internet?
The World Wide Web, huh? Well, you know what? I think it's an awesome tool for independents to promote themselves. It's just a way to level the playing field a bit. I mean, after all, I wouldn't be here talking to you if it wasn't for this.
What's important to you?
Well, Len, barring the obvious ones, God and family and all that, I guess I have a passion for boating in the water. I literally live on my boat in the summertime. Actually, I call her my $200 a month apartment. That's pretty much where I stay. And I write some songs there too.
Can you talk about some of your live performance experiences?
Oh boy, live performance stories. Oh, I could spend hours on this one. But a couple that really stand out was, there was one time, it was back in high school actually, with the band I was with. We got the opportunity to open up for Peter Frampton. And at the time, we were so busy just practicing, getting our show down, that we weren't really thinking about what we were about to do. And then when we got to the stage and walked out on that stage and saw all those people, I have never been that terrified in my life. I mean, for about 30 seconds. It's kind of like Nashville Star. I did that last year too, and I was just like scared to death. And then, but hey, man, once you got into it, you're into it, and just had a great time, man. It was a killer experience.
Who are some of your musical heroes, and who's on the top of the list?
Well, you got the obvious ones. I mean, anybody that put out a record, I mean, is a hero to me. You got Rush, you got Van Halen, Patsy Cline, Kenny Chesney, all of them. Probably the biggest musical hero that I have is my big brother. He picked up a guitar, and I was just a little kid at the time, and it was so in envy. I just looked at that time and went, man, I'm going to learn how to play that guitar better than him if it kills me. And he never did do much with it, but I just loved it so much that I just continued on, and to this day I'm just playing the thing, So I guess my big brother, he's my biggest musical hero.
Do you consider yourself a country artist?
Len, yeah, I do. I played country music for 15 years or more or longer. I started out as a rock and roller. With what they have these days, it's almost like today's country is a little bit like yesterday's rock and roll. So I'm hoping that marriage between the two is going to work and people are going to like it.
What are some of the best songs you've ever heard?
I think some of the best songs that I've heard are people that dabble in it a little bit, and they don't know the technicalities of how you should do this and how you should do that. But something happens to them, and they just pour their emotions into a song. If you know the story behind it, and it probably wouldn't make sense to anybody else, but if you know the story behind the song, you're just into it. Hey, Len, I still got on the phone. Let me ask you this real quick. I've just kind of wondered. I've heard you guys in the winter months get so much snow and wind up there, you have to tie your snowmobiles up in front of the saloon to keep them from blowing away. Is that true? The coo 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 beauty, eh?
Have you considered a career in stand-up? Well, on that musical high note, it's a wrap. Scott Rose is on the top of my playlist and should be on yours too. Len Amsterdam, Canada.
Len Amsterdam, Len Amsterdam, Len Amsterdam. It is the Len Amsterdam radio show, along with Country Rose, don't you know? Mr. Jerry Matthews is right on track. The Len Amsterdam radio show, the Len Amsterdam radio show.